Hello everyone. Uh, let's go back to our weekly drawing. And today, no more portraits. We had a lot of portraits, enough of portraits. Let's go back to some um, anatomical drawings. Okay, we have a lady here who's actually posing this beautiful pose. And it's about, we have an axis line. I was going to say about 10-15 degrees of angle here, which is not a lot of angle, but there's an axis line. That's her left angle, left arm. Then you got the leg here. Then you have the body structure. Here you have the bum, back. You have the, well, we have the angle here of the left arm. Here we have her head, which is turned towards her right. Then you have another her right arm, the body here, bum, as I said earlier on. Now the spine comes here, and then you have the foot, kneecap, thigh, and the well, the whole, that's about another 10 degree, and the calf here, that's the foot itself. Then we have the leg, thigh up here, kneecap, another, well, that's the calf again, shin, foot, and foot itself. Okay, so let's go back to and get the shadow. It's well lit. They have the shadow here, which is, that area is in light, and this is all in shadow. So let's give that a darker tone. Get the foot, the thigh here. It's in shadow too. And that part of the thigh, which is her left leg, and that part of the thigh is in shadow too as well. And with the calf. And let's see where the head goes. The head goes, it's a bit further, higher here, and on a vertical line, the axis of the head, it goes right here. So there's the head stands a bit higher here, and her right arm. Okay, so here we have the figure, the whole figure. I think it needs to be a bit smaller because I think it's a bit wide, the whole thing. So make it a bit smaller so it fits better into my format here, the drawing format. Calf, I'm moving to the left a little bit more, and this thigh, this heel, it's a bit lower than the right heel, a bit lower than the left heel. So here, then we have calf, the knee, and the back, shadow, breast, that's still a shadow, and a little bit of upper line of the thigh, kneecap, and the foot here itself. Sorry about those noises. These are little cats that we have here. It's not me, by the way, doing those noises. Kittens, basically. We've got new kittens here. I need to keep an eye on them. And then you have the neck and the end of the arm and her breast, upper arm, hair, a darker tone, and then you have the hand, pinky, and the whole hand structure is there. Lower arm, well, the figure is there basically. What we need to work a little bit more now and concentrate is to get those shadows, so create some volume basically on the whole figure. And you have the upper of the hip here, so create some more, well, darker shadows and spread those shadows with some stump. And you have the cuff here. Well, the whole lower leg is in shadow as well. Well, that's the figure, and then also a little bit of cast shadow of the model onto. That creates a 3D effect, so doing some shadow, so you create a 3D effect. And let's spread some darks now with the stump. Yep. Okay, back to the drawing. See, sometimes it's proof that even really good brands of charcoal are not the best for the paper they are actually worked on. See, this paper is about 200 grams of thickness, and this is a really good paper, Daly & Rowley. And this charcoal, this one, good brand, it's very harsh on it. Now the willow charcoal, on the other hand, is much better on this one, on that paper. But not only on that paper, it's that it's just, I think this is natural, that's why. Okay, so let's go back to the drawing. I think I've changed the charcoal, as you can see. Darks are much quicker. You can achieve very quick results with this charcoal. As far as the darks goes, it's a soft, much softer on the paper. And let's go back to the drawing. These are shoulders, and we have a dark tone here, which is, it shows the upper arm here, and the elbow is somewhere here, and you have the whole upper arm coming down this way, breast here, sharp, going sharp here, and the upper thigh, drop that a little bit more, the knee cup, and a vertical line goes from the elbow down to the knee cup. So if I drop the vertical line somewhere here, and then get the knee cup, get the calf, and the foot itself is down here, the foot, heel, there. And let's revisit all these areas, all these angles. That line is almost parallel with this, so that line here, it's almost parallel with the upper body. It's not, but it's almost, it's more of an angle this way. Then you have the knee cup here, and then the upper thigh. I'm reworking all those lines and then just seeing and checking proportions, checking, making the lines a little bit more intense in parts and less intense in other parts, and then the upper arm here, and also a little bit longer this upper arm, lower arm here, and then the lower arm. I think the hand needs to be elongated a little bit more. There. 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 And down here, head, which we don't actually see, bit of a shadow here, and she's looking low down there. Okay, now I think with the stump I can come and create some dark shadows and make it a little bit more appealing, the drawing. It's a bit harsh. Stump, dip it onto the dark dust, which was created with the wheel of charcoal, the second charcoal, and spread those darks here, which is all this area is in the shadow. The thigh is actually dark. I think that's a bit also harsh, so I'm going to use it's just too much. I'm going to use the brush, any used brush from my oil painting, and then get those darks there. That's preferable, because the other the stumps just pushes the darks in. Then you have here calf and the foot. Get the stump out so I can get down here the foot. Then you have the shadows. Dip the brush in. Thigh, calf, and I'm checking with a vertical line from mid butt cheek. I can come down here and do this foot here. Take it with the stump, the brush with the dust, get that heel properly done here and move it that way, so it creates a nice shadow. And that's another shadow here. And a little bit of background, why not? Instead of working on the body, I can work on the background here. And almost a vertical line. Background. I think I need to drop this. Yes, I need to drop that. I need to drop that upper arm here. And that will create a longer lower arm. So if I drop that upper arm this way, it's kind of horizontal. That creates a longer upper arm here. And the face, the head, which we don't actually see, tip of the head turned. There's no neck because she's looking down, so there's not much neck there. And a darker tone here, which blends actually with the background. If you like, you can make a little bit of background here. The brush. Bit of dust, and I can create a bit more shadow here. There. that, as I said, lower arm here. Move it down here. So create that darker shadow there. Well, I need to use the putty rubber there because there is no way of doing that lower arm a bit sharper, so I need to use the putty rubber, which I'm going to use it now. The calf here. A little bit wider the upper thigh. And I can come a little bit more with the willow charcoal again, just to re-establish those key areas, where the kneecap is actually where the kneecap is. Then you have calf. And then lower the upper arm, as I said earlier on, and then lower it down here. Here. That creates a longer arm. And actually what's very intense here is the shoulder and the upper arm here, and then the shadow of the lower arm, and then her fingers actually are touching her neck there. Okay. Now, a general tonal value, a soft tonal value above her body with a brush, because the stump will be too dark for it. Any brush, these are second-hand, oil brushes, which I constantly use, and get the spine here. The spine, hip, okay, and then heel. And this dark tone here. Okay. And now, one thing that I didn't mention, because I think it goes without saying, but actually needs to be said, is that the whole body is being kept, all the weight of the body is being kept by this leg, which is her left leg. So here is where the tension should come, or should be emphasized. The tension, the body weight. So this leg needs to be a little bit darker, in the sense that it shows to the viewer that this is the main pillar of the weight, of the entire weight of the body. Now this leg, which is her left, is actually balancing the body. It's not keeping the body. It's not holding the weight of the body. It's balancing the body. It's a beautiful dark shadow here. So on the left, so that creates ambience, creates a little bit of, well, it creates 3D effect when you put those darks down here. Soften that. So what I'm actually doing See, instead of going with darker tonal value on this leg, which is the left leg, I am trying to make as soft as possible the left, her left foot, and then concentrate on her right foot. Now, why I'm saying her, because it's actually, it is her right foot and it's my right foot. Yeah, that's right. It's both. For me and you and her, this is the right foot and this is the left foot, because she's looking away. If she was turning towards us, her left foot will be my right foot. I don't know if I'm explaining myself, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So it is basically correct way to show her left foot is keeping the balance of it's keeping the whole weight of the body, and the left foot is keeping the balance, so it's not falling. Or how about I give her with my side of the hand a general dark tone here, like that. Like this, and that's good enough. So I'm actually emphasizing darks on the left hand side of the arm and the right leg. This is holding the body, the weight. This is holding the balance, so she's not falling towards her left, and then so I'm keeping that dark, I'm keeping this dark, and also this, but then I'm blending the left leg with the background. Okay, now a little bit of putty rubber to highlight some important areas. Let's say here we have the upper arm, the muscle of the upper arm, and the shoulder here, which needs to be shown. Of muscle there, and then the spine itself. Okay, then a little bit of bum and the line of the upper thigh, which connects with that, and then lose the line of the bum here, and then connects the upper thigh with the calf here. And the calf itself. And the muscle which is, or that highlight which is above the knee cup, this one here. And the calf itself. And a very, very soft tonal value here, which will give us an indication of where the upper thigh stands, which is the line of the upper thigh. Okay, and then a little bit of jaw structure here. There, jaw and face. And then she's actually, okay, there's a stick which is holding on her hair, but I mean it's not a stick, it's a very small line there. I mean, yeah, stick, it's a stick, it's a wooden stick. And then the upper arm, a bit lighter. And some highlights here on the upper arm as well. There. Calf, a little bit of highlight on the calf. There. and the foot itself. And then you have the toes. Now going back to the brush, get those darks under the foot, and you have a little bit of background here, darker background. And some highlight here on the kneecap. That gives a 3D effect to it. And artificially pump out the calf here because it's not as dark, it's not as rounded as that, but creates a powerful, it creates tension on the calf, and then the tendon here which connects with the heel. Okay, now going back to my charcoal, and then you have the foot itself, heel, foot, and toes. There we are. I can soften that, turn, because it's like a cylinder. You have the upper thigh like a cylinder. So soften that line and make it a bit more rounded. Let me get some darks here. And bit of dark on the finger, and then create that cheek butt here. A bit more rounded. And the end of the other cheek butt here. A bit softer, and then softer with my fingers, soften those impacts here with the fingers. And a general darker tone. Now I'm going to use a little bit more of a specific brush here, like not a, more of a rounded brush. It works a bit like pencil or charcoal, but soft. I want those areas to be very, very soft, as soft as possible. Drop the dust off. And then soft, soft, soft here. And then a little bit of hair, blonde hair, light colored hair. A bit wider here, and then give a little bit of an ambience here. Bit of background. give it at least where the foot ends. So it's actually on a horizontal line. The toes are almost at the same horizontal line as the other toes here. So let's give it at least a line where the toes will end up here. The end of the toes here. And not to forget to add a little bit of shadow here. And the toes are in, because the light comes from the left. As the light comes, it's an in-studio light, comes from here. So you have a little bit of a toe, few toes showing here. There, it's being illuminated by the light. They're being illuminated. And then a little bit of a darker tone here. And a general dark tone in between both legs. Soften that line. Doesn't have to be a line there at all. More rounded, the upper thigh. And okay. Okay, now a little bit that little pinky. And you have the hand here. You have the pinky apart and all the three other fingers together. And a little bit of putty rubber to highlight the hand here. But I'm choosing something different. Instead of highlighting the upper arm, I'm clearing up the background. There. So that suggests, or actually works as a line. And here I can give her a little bit more of a width here, a bit wider on the upper body here. And that, by moving the putty rubber this way, more towards the left, I can create, again, I'm moving the putty rubber horizontally, as you can see. That creates also a little bit of a roundness of the upper body, like this. And this is why I'm using the brush horizontally, so it creates roundness. And the hair, as I said earlier on, well, actually the fingers, which are all together here, cut them a little bit more there. And upper arm. And getting those upper arm a little bit more defined here. The upper arm. Breast area. Well, here we have the armpit, and then you have the breast area. And with my finger, because I don't want to get too bright here, just soften that and brighten it up, but not too much. And then the same here, a little bit of reflected light. There. And the left cheek butt. A bit more rounded. And then a shine, a light, or the light reflects back from the roundness of her thigh here. Lose that line a little bit softer. Can come now and do a little bit of background, dip the background inwards like this. So I can create a line for the upper thigh. I mean the thigh. There's no upper or lower thigh. The thigh. And then the heel here. Softer line here. Actually, if I create a darker thigh and use the brush horizontally, then I can, again, it's the same principle as the top there. So then I can now come back and do a shiny line which reflects the light back to us, like this. The light backs to us. There. And the cuff itself, which moves outwards like this. And another cuff here and the heel here, which is a little bit more angular and creates a more of a sharp heel here. And the toes, as we said earlier on. Then you have the upper shoulder here. And that line, I think it's a bit too harsh, too dark. So what I'll do, I'll blend it with the background. Creates more of a pleasing effect to the eye. And the head, which I can now define up here. With that line. It's nothing, I mean, there's not much face, so don't worry about, at least it's not a portrait. Don't worry about the face. But we have the ear here, which I need to give a sign where it is. The ear is, let's go back and zoom in. The ear is, okay, get back to the ear. On a vertical line, yes. But first of all, that's hair. That's hair. And then this is the defining line where it separates the head from the background. That's the little finger, and then all the 3 fingers together there. And we don't see the thumb, but we know it's there. Then you have the lower arm, and the ear is, well, before I define the ear, is the face where we need to go, which is there, and the ear is there. So let's go and define it a little bit more. This is the ear. That's the hair. 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 As I said, she's got a little, it's a brush that she's having. It's going through her hair like this. It's a brush which is holding her hair like this. And then you have the head. That's the skull. Okay, here we are. And the little fingers which are actually holding her neck. Here, 1, 2. Well, one finger, and then another one here, and 3. So these are the supposed fingers. Well, they are the fingers, but I haven't done them properly. But it cannot be anything else except fingers. And then you have the line which connects the lower arm. And a little bit more rounded here, more rounded. There. And a soft shadow which goes from the upper shoulder to this here. And some soft lines of the hair which creates that light hair color, and a little bit of reflected light from the hair, and here as well. There. Okay, and maybe a little bit further up here, the head, a bit more of a distance from the head to the upper arm. And then lower this, lower the the lower arm and the upper arm. And softly blend those things here, and then that will goes away to the background. So we merge it with the background. I don't have to darken the background here, but I can make a little bit of a line here just to suggest where the upper arm and the elbow is. And I think I'm going to be too harsh with that, a bit softer here, darker tone, softer tone, dark, softer, dark tone, that's the word. And then another softer tone here, or lose that line, because I think that line is a bit too strong. The upper arm on her left. So choose another brush, because that's a small brush. I can use it here on this particular area. And then darker here. Darker here, and then a little bit wider upper arm. Here we are, and then another soft line. Here we are. zoom out here. Sorry about this, this is our studio, so there's paper, colored paper here everywhere in the studio here, and then you have the lower part of her body. Give a little bit of a lighter tone and a lighter tone here. That reinforces the flesh, which goes and moves and then dips in and out, and then some light tone here. Okay, and let's see and make that tone darker here. And then lose that line as well. And give her a little bit of toe here on the left hand foot. Sorry, the left foot, not the left hand foot. And here we are with the bone structure. Heel. And here we are with the leg and the calf as well. And a bit more rounded calf. That creates tension, as we said, because the whole weight is being kept by this calf here, the left hand calf. The left calf, sorry, left hand calf. And a little bit of highlight here on the kneecap. And kind of a soft secondary light here. And what I mean by that, that will define the sheen as well here. There, that's soft light. And the heel here. Okay, I think that's it. I'll see you next week. Let's put the date today. And the date today is... What's the date today is? 24th. See you on the next one.